I wasn't supposed to fall for a human, especially not one 10 years older than me.
Yet here he was with Sheila, a vibrant redhead of 35, and their triplets bouncing between them. Freddie and Teddie, the girls, were bundles of chaotic energy, their laughter echoing Grog's own mischievous spirit. Then there was Eddie, the boy, quiet and observant, his eyes holding a wisdom beyond his 5 years. Life wasn't easy. Interspecies relationships rarely were. Grog's goblin family refused to acknowledge Sheila, and her human friends whispered behind their backs. But they had each other, this mismatched, unconventional family bound by a love that transcended species and societal norms. For a while it was enough. Eddie, unlike his boisterous sisters, preferred the company of silence. He would spend hours lost in his own world, sketching fantastical creatures and humming melodies only he could hear. One day, a melody took root in his young mind, darker and more insistent than the others. Words began to form, painting a picture of revenge and retribution.
Karma?
He called it karma, his voice barely a whisper as he sang the lyrics to himself. The words were sharp, laced with an understanding of the world's cruelty that was unsettling in one so young.
Wow.
Listen to him.
Freddie and Teddie, drawn by the unfamiliar tune, fell silent, their eyes wide with fascination, as their brother, usually so reserved, poured his heart out in song. The music, heavy with bass and synthesized beats, pulsed through the house, jarring Grog from his afternoon nap. Sheila, stirring a pot of stew, frowned at the lyrical content. It was Eddie, his high-pitched voice digitally altered to sound deeper, singing about betrayal and vengeance.
What in the goblin world is this racket?
Grog grumbled, his voice thick with sleep. Sheila, her face pale, turned off the stove. The lyrics, filled with violence and anger, chilled her to the bone. This wasn't the innocent music of a 5-year-old. This was something darker, something that spoke of a disturbing understanding of the world's cruelty.
Eddie, turn that off this instant!
Eddie, headphones clamped over his ears, remained oblivious to his parents' growing horror as he filmed the music video for Karma. Freddie and Teddie, their initial fascination giving way to excitement, danced along to the beat, their laughter echoing Eddie's chilling lyrics. The video, shot on Eddie's handheld device, was a montage of their lives, snippets of family arguments, playground bullies, and the judgmental stares of strangers.
This is so fun! Keep filming, Eddie.
When Sheila burst into the room, demanding he delete the video, Eddie finally looked up, his young face a mask of defiance.
No, it's my song, my truth.
The words, spoken with such conviction, sent a shiver down Sheila's spine. It was as if something ancient and powerful had taken root in her son, something that whispered of rebellion and retribution. The argument that followed was like nothing they had experienced before.
You think you can defy me, boy?
Grog, his goblin temper flaring, roared threats and smashed furniture.
Eddie, please, you have to understand.
Sheila, her voice hoarse with pleading, begged Eddie to see reason.
No, I'm not backing down. This is my song, and it means something.
But Eddie, usually so quiet and compliant, stood his ground, the song Karma playing on a loop, a macabre soundtrack to the escalating tension. The night culminated in a horrifying climax. Blinded by rage and fear, Grog lunged for Eddie, his clawed hand raised.
No, Daddy, stop.
Leave him alone.
In a flash of movement, the children reacted. Freddie and Teddie, their laughter replaced by chilling screams, threw themselves at their father, tiny fists pounding against his chest. Eddie, his face expressionless, watched as Grog stumbled back, his eyes wide with disbelief before collapsing to the floor, his chest pierced by a shard of broken glass from the shattered coffee table. The courtroom was silent as the jury foreman read the verdict.
Guilty.
The children, their faces pale and emotionless, showed no reaction. The judge, a kindly old man with eyes that had seen too much, stared down at them, a mixture of sadness and pity etched on his face.
By the power vested in me by the court, I hereby sentence you.
He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. How could he condemn 3 children, barely old enough to tie their own shoes, to a life behind bars? The trial had been a media circus. The story, a bizarre blend of the macabre and the heart-wrenching, had captivated the nation. Goblin Dad, Human Mum, and their killer triplets. The headlines practically wrote themselves. Public opinion was divided. Some clamoured for the children to be locked away, calling them monsters, seeds of evil. Others, swayed by the children's youth and the haunting lyrics of Eddie's song, demanded leniency, arguing that the children were victims of circumstance, failed by a society that couldn't understand or protect them. In the end, the judge, his heart heavy with the impossible task before him, opted for a compromise. Freddie, Eddie and Teddie, deemed unfit to stand trial as adults, were sentenced to juvenile detention, their case to be reviewed annually until they reached the age of 18. It was the best he could do, a sliver of hope in a sea of despair. Life in juvenile detention was a far cry from the chaotic freedom of their former lives. The days were regimented, a dull routine of meals, schoolwork and supervised recreation. Yet, even within the confines of their concrete cell, the triplets found a way to make their presence known.
Their cell became their stage, their voices, honed by countless hours of singing along to Eddie's music, their instruments.
Eddie, ever resourceful, had fashioned a makeshift guitar from a discarded lunchbox and rubber bands its sound surprisingly melodic. Their music, once a source of conflict and pain, became their solace, a way to connect with each other and shut out the harsh realities of their new world. Karma, the song that had inadvertently landed them behind bars, became an unexpected hit. A guard, moved by their talent and their story, had uploaded a video of them performing in their cell. It went viral overnight. Soon their story, their song was everywhere, sparking debates about justice, family and the very nature of good and evil. Record deals were offered and rejected. The children, their voices hardened but not broken by their experiences, refused to be exploited.
Years later, when they were finally released, they chose to use their platform to advocate for juvenile justice reform.
Their story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of music, resonated with millions. They were flawed, yes, forever marked by the darkness of their past, but they were not defined by it. They had found their voice, their purpose in the most unlikely of places.
A twisted happy ending? Perhaps. In their world, it was the only kind there was.